All right, well, welcome to our first lab. I see I have a due date here that is not quite right. I'll make sure to change that. I'm using an older file. But in this first week, basically, you're going to look up and find out who are the people that do research on the oceans, who finds out nowadays what is in the ocean. And if you watch the TED Ed video, the 7 mysteries of the ocean, uh, there's still a lot to be discovered. So these are valuable career opportunities that you could think about if you chose to go into science. So in the content tab for this week, you have a document that is Lab 1, Careers, and this is what it will look like when you open it up. Now, I've tried to embed links into Word. That doesn't always work well. For me, if I hit Control and right-click, it should open the lab. But if that doesn't work, you can highlight the lab link, right-click, hit Open, or copy it and paste it into a web browser. And hopefully that will open it up. And you can see the page itself looks similar to what I'm showing you, the screenshot in the lab. And if you follow down through, I ask you some questions. So it asks you to pick on the pictures of people. So if I come over to one of the people here and I pick on them, all right. Well, hopefully it will open up the explorers. You have to click on the picture, not the link. So then it has a short video you can watch about the person where they describe their career and why they got interested in oceanography. You can read their bios, and you want to read this information and watch the video to answer the questions that are in the lab. Why did this person get started? Why do you think this person is featured on the National Oceanography and Atmospheric Sciences website? That's the government website that deals with oceans and also weather. And what parts of their research could you see yourself doing? So if you see something that they talk about that they do that would be interesting, that's what you want to talk about when you're answering question 3. And then if you go to the Explorers in Training, there I did a control click. These are actually students at NOAA that are undergraduate and graduate students. And so if you click on the picture of one of these people, they discuss what they've done. Now this person's beginning their PhD, so they're a graduate student. But you'll ask similar questions in the lab. Where's the student going to school? What sort of ocean research are they doing? And then what skills and classes would you need to take here at BCC or at another school in order to be able to do that sort of research? So if they talk about geophysics, for instance, obviously you're going to have to take geology courses and physics courses. If there's somebody that looks at fish, they're probably going to have to take some ecology and some biology and biology specific to fish in order to do that sort of research. So I just want to highlight 3 or 4 classes you could take if you wanted to do this research yourself. Okay. Then I'm not going to click on the link this time, but basically when you click on this link or go to the facts area of the same website, they have all these different topics that you can choose from. Now I ask you to go and click on geology and look through the links there. Archaeology, because that's marine archaeology. I do archaeology. And then the multi-beam bathymetry. Go through to those parts of the sites and answer these specific questions. So you should be able to find the answers in geology, for instance. How big is the ocean, both the area and the volume of the ocean? So look through the geology area of NOAA facts to find that information, and so on and so on. And then finally, I ask you to look through these topics and see what other ones might interest you, and click on those and create your own questions. Make up a few short questions for two other categories. So you'll have a total of 10 different questions and answers. And then here's the one where you tie it back into yourself. So if you go into one of these like human impacts, how are you personally having an impact on the ocean according to this area of the website? Or if you go into archaeology, maybe one of the sites they talk about interests you, and you could imagine going to visit that area. That would be some way that this research that's done in this area directly relates to you in your daily life. So I just would like you to answer that question as the last part of this lab. And then all of these questions, you'll write them up the question. You can just cut and paste it into your lab report. Remember, every lab has a quiz that you do after you get done with the lab, and you also have to create a separate document, which is a full lab report. And in that lab report, we'll talk about it more in the lecture, but you have different sections, and one section will always be the data. Well, what's the data for a lab like this? It's simply the questions and your answers. So you just cut the question and paste that into the data and answer the questions. And that's your data. And then you'll probably have an introduction and a conclusion on either side and a procedure. So hopefully that helps you get it started with this first lab and knowing how to navigate through it with a little bit more understanding. And of course, I'm always available for questions in email or in my office hours. So please don't hesitate if you're confused or you can't get something to work. Always need to get problems solved sooner rather than later. And so have a good day.